Testing 1, 2, 3. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our April 8th, 2014 meeting of the Watsonville City Council. If we can have a roll call, please, by our city clerk.
Bielisich. Kaufman Gomez.
Present.
Dodge. Fernandez.
Present.
Hurst.
Here.
Montesino.
Here.
Cervantes.
Here. Everyone, please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one God, indivisible, with liberty.
Y este es un anuncio para todos que están con nosotros que necesitan el aparato de interpretación. Este aparato se puede usar obténgalo en el aparato de la mesa junto de la caseta de interpretación, préndalo y use el canal 0, cuélgueselo en el cuello con el frente hacia afuera. Si no puede oír, revise que el aparato esté encendido y sin obstrucciones. Solo funciona dentro de la cámara del concilio. Y por favor, regréselo antes de partir. This is a time in our agenda set aside for oral communications from the public. Any members from the public can address us on any council, on any agenda item, on any item that is not on our agenda. Please come forward to the podium, just state your name and address or the district in which you live.
Unity, and I'm here from District 7. As chair of the Pajaro Valley Senior Coalition, I really want to talk to you about something that I think is quite extraordinary. And it's a true story. It happened about, 15, 16 years ago at a town hall meeting. And some seniors got up to complain about getting doctors under Medicare, the inability to find doctors under the Medicare payment. And this town hall was held by Representative Sam Farr. And so he became very concerned about the problem that seniors were complaining about and found out that there was a classification study that was done in 1966, and it classified counties either as rural or urban, and we were classified as rural. San Diego County, believe it or not, was classified as rural. And naturally, the reimbursement for doctors was much more and higher in urban counties, classified as urban, as opposed to rural, which made a tremendous difference in the amount of money they received. Therefore, doctors practiced in other counties. It took Sam Farr 15 years to try to settle this. 4 times he thought he had a settlement, and it failed. It passed the House, but failed in the Senate 4 times. Finally, this year, in March, as part of a nationwide reclassification, California will reclassify all of their counties, and we will be classified as an urban. This is a tremendous difference for the doctors in the area, and it means that seniors will be able to find doctors to provide care. I think our thanks should really go out to Representative Sam Farr, who has done a tremendous service, but 15 years to get that kind of legislation changed and passed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, Councilman, Gary Richard Arnold. This is regarding harsh government policies that are controlling the population. In fact, there's a powerful foreign institution called ICLEI that meddles with the city, county, and state legislation. It exists from funds from both the United Nations and the World Bank and works with the Monterey Bay area political machine. Fact, ICLEI states their purpose is to mandate local authorities to implement UN agenda legislation. Fact, ICLEI uses questionable global warming crisis as a reason to harmonize local laws for top-down rule and leadership. Fact, the County of Santa Cruz, their Enablement Act on the Climate Plan was presented by Dan Heffley and the head of the County Planning Department as their own. Fact, the ICLEI World Bank Front admitted that they were the authors of this legislation. Fact, the RAND Corporation planner leaked a study called the Report from Iron Mountain. In that report, it called for additional substitutes of war as political stabilizers, and I quote, a sophisticated form of slavery as a requirement for social control. Fact, the report suggested using a scam of environmental pollution model, and I quote, as a principal apparent threat to the survival of the species. Poisoning of the air and the principal sources of food and water supply is already well advanced. This is quotes out of the report from Iron Mountain that's available on the internet. Fact, the principal argument for installing the militarized smart meters was the environmental model. And people aren't stupid. They know it takes 3 seconds for one of those meters to reach a billing center. It doesn't take a 24/7 monitoring system, which Snowden says that this is part of the surveillance system on the American people. Fact, Fort Meade in 2006 leaked a report that said 100% of the population would be susceptible to tunable radio waves similar to that of the smart meter. The varying influence on the subjects would be, and I'm quoting again from the Fort Meade report, from mild disruption of concentration to loss of consciousness. Fact, it was a political machine here in Santa Cruz that was working with ICLEI, the Front for the World Bank, that installed the Gestapo meters, ignoring the people's right against warrantless trespass that the sheriff abused, the sheriff from the political machine. The sheriff ignored the fact the meter installation was a World Bank partnership with the utilities throughout the state of California, from San Diego to PG&E to Southern California Edison. There's a group called SEEC. If you go to that website, you'll find the logo of ICLEI there. What's even worse, the chilling invasion of privacy is a new program now that's set up by the CIA asset Greylock. It's called Nextdoor, and it disguises itself as a neighborhood watch. It doesn't look like I have enough time to get into it, but it's various peoples from KPBC, which includes former CIA individuals and people from the CIA venture capital funds. But between the smart meters and this organization, the people do not have their privacy, and they're being watched and used as resources for the state.
Thank you for your comments.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Julio Mejía y vengo en representación de todas las personas seniors de la área de 662 Bronte para pedirles por favor que miren por nosotros, porque parece que pienso que nos quieren retirar el bus 79 que corre en esa área y queremos tener el servicio el sábado y el domingo, que son los días más importantes, porque muchas personas no tenemos modo de transportarnos y usamos el bus para venir de compras el domingo, venir a la plaza a pasearnos. No tenemos nuestro corazón, somos personas mayores, pero también sabemos ver las cosas buenas de la vida, ¿verdad? Entonces, por favor, les suplicamos, esa es mi petición, y les agradecería mucho que la tomaran en cuenta. Gracias.
Muchas gracias por sus comentarios. And Mr. Landaveri will go ahead and translate.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Julio Mejia, and I am here representing all the elderly in the area of 662 Bronte. because I want to ask you to please look out for us, because I believe that they're trying to cancel bus line 79, which runs in this area. And so we want to have that bus service on Saturdays and Sundays, because those are very important days. A lot of us don't have another method of transportation, and we take the bus so we can go shopping on Sundays, to come downtown. We are elderly, but we have a good heart, and we like to enjoy the good things in life. And so I'd like to ask you to please listen to my petition, and I would thank you if you would take it into account. Thank you very much.
Therefore, hello, hi, council members and the mayor. My name is Maria Santana. I've been long time resident in Watsonville, and I support Julio they don't take the bus, because it's really important. The older people, they need the bus, because it's a lot of handicapped people, and they use wheelchair, except to me. Not realistic what happened in the future to me. I have a stroke. I need the bus. Please, think in my support for running the bus. At least we can. I appreciate you. I live in 67 Bronte Avenue, Chino, Nancy, our district. And please take attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Is there any other members of the public wishing to address us on items not on our agenda?
Good evening. My name is Beth Truso. I live in Corlitos, and I wanted to tell you about an event that's happening in at Pinto Lake County Park. It's a disc golf tournament. It's going to be on May 10th and 11th. It's a third annual event, and it's a women's only event. Disc golf has been pretty popular with men, but we're trying to grow the sport among women. So on May 10th and 11th, we'll be having a tournament. Over 60 players will come from all over Northern California, and we also are fortunate in that we have touring pro players will come as well. We'll have there'll be pro clinics, and then 3 rounds of golf, and then there'll be a charity fundraiser at the end. And this year it's special because our event coincides with a women's disc golf global event where over 700 people, women in particular, will be playing on May 10th. Pinto Lake Disc Golf Course was the home of the 2011 Professional Disc Golf Worlds, and someday we'd like to grow the sport into a women's event there on that scale. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Seeing no other members of the public wishing to address us, I will go ahead and turn this over to the council for their oral communications. Councilmember Dodge.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I'm sorry to bring my slideshow with me tonight, so I'll just keep my remarks really brief. I did want to acknowledge the seniors that came before us. 2 of us, myself and the mayor, sit on the Santa Cruz Metropolitan Transit District Board. We realize that it's a very important services, access to health, work, and education for here in our community. So I appreciate your remarks and would encourage you that April 25th of this month, the Santa Cruz Metropolitan Transit District will be looking at a short-range transportation plan, meaning the plan for the next 5 years on how we want to be able to grow in our services. So I would encourage you to attend the Santa Cruz Metro meetings or correspond to myself in email and writing so that we can make sure that we advocate for the positions that you're requesting tonight. Also, I wanted to say a special thank you. I attended an event at CASA, Courts Appointed Special Service Advocates of Santa Cruz County. They are currently recruiting for volunteers to be able to work with children that are in foster care in our community. I'm fortunate enough that their headquarters is located in District 5, the one I represent. It was a fine event, and we heard testimony from former foster children who are in this, who receive CASA services. And I would urge anybody that wants to be able to dedicate their time to changing lives to be able to contact CASA. I also want to congratulate Watsonville Forward, who had a recent event at Youth Now, a new nonprofit in our community offering services for after-school programs, educational, and counseling. Watsonville Forward is an organization that's been gathering some steam lately and is providing opportunities for people to network and associate and to get other people throughout the community and learn about the fine things that are going on here in Watsonville and in the Pajaro Valley, as opposed to some of the negative publicity and stuff that you hear on occasion. I also wanted to mention in the 5th District, I wanted to ask the Public Works Department to look into the intersection of the frontage road on Auto Center Drive, where there is a lot of, for those that don't know, that the Tractor Depot store is going to be opening up on the old bowling alley site. There's also a dollar store, a grocery outlet. There is businesses that have been moving to Watsonville and opening in that location, but traffic seems to be kind of stalled at that area. So I would like to ask the Public Works to be able to look into that and possibly some of the side streets on Longview Road, that Court Street, I might have it wrong, on Longview, and some of the areas back there for street cleaning. And feel free to communicate with me after this meeting. So thank you, Madam Mayor, for allowing me to address.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Bilicic.
I too want to thank Mr. Mejia and Ms. Santana for coming to address the council. I'm glad that we do have 2 council members that are on the Santa Cruz Metropolitan Transit District Board, and I'm sure that they will try and represent us. The senior community is very important in our community, in all of our community, and anything we can do to keep bus line 79 open would be appreciated. I also wanted to thank the Watsonville Community Band. They're in the middle of their concert series. They had a concert on Sunday, was well attended, and people had a wonderful time listening to the music. And then there was a Seroptimist Awards dinner on March 31st, which our mayor and Councilmember Hurst were also present. It was a nice event, and people were awarded. Boy, the stories are incredible. But Seroptimist came to their rescue and supported them with various monetary awards. So thank you. That concludes my remarks for now.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaufman Gomez.
Thank you. I just have a few brief things to note up today. One is we will have a candidate forum for the County Board of Supervisors that will be held on the 29th of April, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the First Methodist Church on Stanford. So the community's invited to attend that, to listen to what the candidates have to say in this forum. I am also would look to have the city check in with Caltrans to see about the signage. Because we do have a lot to offer that people passing through one don't know about, I'd like to see us put some of the signs out there to give us some recognition for people that are driving through that area. Maybe the hiking, the boating, because we do have that. Some of the trails, maybe even the bird watching, so that those could be noted as items that would be available along our coastline with the access that we have off of Highway 1. I think it would be good PR for us to be able to promote that out there on that particular section of the freeway. And let's see, I have one more thing, and that is I'm going to be I'll be an alternate for the Public Development Advisory Committee for the Monterey Bay Community Power. This is this is a group that's getting together, Tri-County, that is looking to do some alternative resources for their utility for this particular area. It's still in a lot of the processing stage, but I'll be representing the city in terms of that backup participation. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Councilmember Hurst?
Thank you, Mayor. Some of you may receive this publication, the City and County Magazine. This is in the March edition. There's an interesting article entitled "Getting Downtown Back on Its Feet." And the gist of this article is creating downtowns that are walkable and are destinations. Now, we're not the only downtown that has suffered in the economic debacle that's gone on in the last few years. A lot of small towns and large towns as well, and particularly farm towns, have suffered greatly. And so, you know, there's a whole range of host and of reasons why downtowns have struggled. Freeways have bypassed them. Shopping centers have developed in the suburbs and such. And so it's a complex issue with downtown, and I'm glad we have a committee that's working hard to revitalize downtown. This last weekend, there was a march in the downtown at the plaza, the Walk to Stop the Silence, and that was a group of concerned people that came together to point out the issue of child abuse and violence against children, and I was pleased to be able to walk with that group. Meals on Wheels, I was able to participate with them last month and received a nice thank you card from the Meals on Wheels folks, highlighting the need in our community for adequate nutrition and an opportunity to visit shut-in folks as well. In my district, Rock's Cupcake had an open house or a year commemoration last weekend, and I just wanted to give a shout out to my friends at Rock's Cupcakes. I wasn't able to make it, unfortunately, but I understood they had a very nice, it's nice to see a business prosper and grow. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Vice Mayor Hernandez?
Really briefly, I want to congratulate all the Measure G folks on the successful fundraiser they had, the barbecue fundraiser they had. It was a great barbecue. I want to also congratulate our Parks and Recs Commission that had they hosted the Pumas professional team, and also the new affiliation with the professional soccer team. I hope that, you know, in the future we can develop more of a relationship, and possibly they can do some training with some of the youth here in Watsonville. I really want to give a big shout out to the Watsonville High School soccer team, which they're the 2014 CCS Division I champions. From what I read on the Sentinel, apparently they did it short one man, so they did it with a short one man, and they still overcame Bellarmine out in San Jose, I think, somewhere out there. So big congratulations to the Watsonville High School soccer team. The last thing is I want to invite people to our first Pajaro Valley Democrats. We're hosting our first wine tasting fundraiser that's going to be on Friday, May 2nd, and it's here at our very own Watsonville Winemakers Studio. I don't know if people are aware, but there's a co-op of 4 different wineries here in Watsonville, so I just want to invite people. That's May 2nd, Friday, May 2nd from 5 to 8. That's it. Thank you.
And I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank everyone that came out to our Cesar Chavez Day of Service that we held in the Carr Street neighborhood here in downtown Watsonville. It was a huge success, and I wanted to especially thank the Volunteer Center of Santa Cruz County and AmeriCorps, who brought out a number of volunteers to help us with that neighborhood cleanup. And a very special thank you to Mayor Lynn Robinson from the city of Santa Cruz, who also joined us that cold and rainy day. Rain had been very rare and sparse, but it came down that day. So I do appreciate everyone that was able to join us that morning and afternoon, helping us beautify our downtown neighborhood. I also wanted to announce that I'm co-sponsoring along with the mayor of the city of Santa Cruz a prom dress drive. So we are seeking donations, and there are a number of Watsonville sites where people can donate gently used dresses that'll help send a young woman to prom. And some of those sites are Celebrations, Rentals, and Party Supply, 1459 Freedom Boulevard, the WCA, 340 East Beach Street, as well as all of the various Comerica banking centers throughout the county. And I also did want to also highlight the Seroptimus International Watsonville event, which is another organization that prides itself on being an organization of women helping other women. And I was able to provide a couple of remarks at that event. And in particular, some of my remarks focused on the existing wage gap that still exists today. Women still earn 77 cents to every man's dollar. And today, just to sort of point out some further statistics, today is National Equal Pay Day, which symbolizes how far into the new year the average woman living in the United States would have to work to earn what the average man did in the United States in the previous year. So part of my comments also included, highlighting that March was Women's History Month, celebrating, recognizing all of the achievements that women have been able to accomplish here in the United States, but also recognizing that there's still a lot of work for us to do. So with that, that'll end my oral communications, and we will now have a report out of closed session from our Attorney Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. The council discussed two cases this evening, Props, City of Watsonville versus and Ethnobotanica. Received a report but took no action on either item.
Thank you. And the next item on our agenda is a presentation and proclamation by Assembly Member Luis Alejo for Darlene Din as Woman of the Year.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, and city staff. I'm Assembly Member Luis Alejo. I drove 3 hours from Sacramento, and I got to drive back just for this very special presentation. I'm here to recognize an outstanding individual for the 2014 Woman of the Year Award. As many of you are aware, last month, the month of March, was Women's History Month, and this is the time we dedicate to recognize the significant contributions of some remarkable women and their contributions to our local communities and our Golden State. Each year, only 80 women throughout California are honored with this prestigious award, and only one is chosen for each assembly district, each district representing 500,000 people, 500,000 people. So this is a great recognition. This year, I'm here to nominate and present Darlene Din to receive this award. And as you all know, Darlene is known by many in this community, has given her career and her life's work serving the communities of the Monterey Bay area. She was raised in Watsonville, went to local schools in our community, but she's been an exemplary model, a role model for hundreds of men and women in the agricultural world, and she works tirelessly towards agricultural viability and environmental stewardship in order to balance the needs of the communities and yet represent the interests of agriculture. Darlene, which she's right here. I take great pride in the opportunity to honor you before an audience of your peers, your family, and your friends to receive this award, and it speaks volumes of your work that you have done and continue to do for your community. This award is usually presented in Sacramento at a special ceremony on the assembly floor. Again, only one woman per each assembly district. They are walked in the middle of the assembly chamber. They are received by the Speaker of the Assembly, the Minority Leader of the Assembly, and so it's a very big honor for every year. It's probably the most beautiful ceremony that we hold in the state legislature. But Darlene, being the busy person she is, she was at a conference in Washington, D.C., couldn't attend that, so we promised to make it up to her here in the community that she loves so much, and so we're here to present this recognition. I'm going to just read just a few parts of it. There's a recognition from the State Assembly. We have a few recognitions to give here to her today, and I'll just read a few of those paragraphs. Darlene Din has contributed extensively to the people of the state through her activities, and as a tribute to her exemplary record of community service, she's been honored as the District 30 Woman of the Year, is deserving of a special public commendations. As an agricultural stakeholder representative, Darlene Din has a long and distinguished history of working in a bipartisan manner with coalitions of agricultural partners and other stakeholder groups to achieve common ground in the areas of agricultural viability and environmental stewardship. Raised and schooled in the Watsonville area, Darlene Din began her career as a self-employed agricultural land use and public policy consultant in January of 1999 on the Central Coast, focusing on our 3 counties, San Benito, Santa Cruz, and Monterey. And in that role, she has become renowned for her superb ability to work tirelessly and collaboratively to forge solutions that balance community interest with those of the agricultural community. As a testament of her considerable expertise and the many valuable contributions she has made, Darlene Din has been recognized by Ag Against Hunger as the 2009 Ag Woman of the Year for Santa Cruz, San Benito, and Monterey counties, and was the recipient of the Monterey County Cattlemen's 2008 Outstanding Service Award and the 1999 Al Smith Friend of Agriculture Award by the Santa Cruz County Farm Bureau. Whereas intelligent, articulate, aware and involved, Darlene Din is a fine example of the public-spirited citizen willing to assume the responsibilities of civic engagement and leadership, which she has demonstrated through her dedicated service on councils, commissions, committees, and boards of organizations in the city of Watsonville, the Pajaro Valley, and in Bakersfield, and in the 3 counties of Santa Cruz, Monterey, and Kern County. Darlene Din, I'm very proud to recognize you as the only Woman of the Year for 2014 for the 30th Assembly District. Congratulations. So this is a nice resolution. First of all, we'll have you say some awards, but also this is a separate recognition that is given to each of the women from the state legislature, Women of the Year 2014, and has a symbol of the women's suffrages movement when they were given the right to vote in recognition of outstanding women in California. Darlene Din, these are for you. We'd like to, the mayor would like to say some words as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, we also just wanted to, on behalf of the city of Watsonville, congratulate you for your recognition as the Woman of the Year in the year 2014 here in the 30th Assembly District, which includes, of course, the city of Watsonville. And we just wanted to thank you for all of your work that you've done, of course, around agricultural land use, and I really appreciated your quote in the newspaper, bringing together multiple constituencies for the greater good for the communities that we serve. So again, congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Would you like to say some words?
Oh, yeah.
We'll take a picture.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Good evening. I've stood before you on many occasions. This is a very different one. Usually I'm pleading on a general plan or some other issue. One, I want to tell you, again, I was humbled and honored. And I think there's a couple important points I wanted to leave tonight with you, is that for those of you that have known me for many decades, I didn't always start as a collaborator. And that's okay. It start and change and make a difference in your community wherever you are. And those that know, I was strongly encouraged to be a part of my community through high school and through my career. I owe a great tribute to the former supervisor, Ray Belgard, and there isn't a time that I don't drive by One Police Plaza, and he used to tell me 10-4, and my response would always be 410. That meant I got it. And this is my home, and it's really hard for me to be in Bakersfield, but I really do enjoy being with my husband, and that's where he is. But I wanted to challenge those that are watching the television and those that are thinking about their career. You can still have really strong core values, and you can feel really strongly about the constituency you serve, but you can find ways to make a community better. I will forever be grateful to Action Pajaro Valley and the lessons that I learned sitting at the table. And one of the opportunities that I got on being an agriculturalist is to be a representative of the California Ag Leadership Foundation in Class 35, and they gave me the tools to help take me to where I needed to be the leader that I could be. And I also want to think that when Assemblymember Alejo went into office, he would sit down and talk to me about things that we could agree on. And those were the agricultural waiver through the regional board, and the issues on working on flood control, on having to go through the Pajaro flood of '95, which was so devastating, and then dealing with my concern and one of the contracts that I work on, which is the Salinas River, and the challenges that it has. And the fact that you can sit down as each others as equal partners and on areas that you can agree make a difference is probably the greatest challenge, but yet the greatest blessing that I've had. There are days when I drive up and down the state of California, pretty much out my front door, down the 99, over to 7th Standard, across to the 46, up to 101, and I see California and I see each stage and I look at the areas, and I just want to leave you with tonight that on the federal level, please, let's all find a way for ag jobs or some immigration reform, because people that work in our fields deserve dignity. I ask the state of California look at the opportunity to have agriculture as a viable business, and I thank each of you in your local districts who make a difference and are working every day to find ways to make this community better. And I again thank you, and I'm humbled by this honor. And I couldn't expect a better place to come and be able to receive it since I was in DC with California Ag Leadership, to be able to do it in my hometown in front of a building that I watched go up, and I think my husband's name's on the plaque. So thank you again.
When you present it.
Oh, because you're in the background.
Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you, and thank you for driving. I drove in from Bakersfield. You can follow me on
Do the
Facebook.
same. Totally. Oh, thank you. And then we got this.
There you go.
The little symbol of the California
Oh,
State
that's
Senate.
beautiful. Wow, that's like, looks like it's on the governor's desk.
We'll help you here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Um,
Thank you very much, council members, for the time to be able to present this award. Thank you so
And
much.
thank you for allowing me to come and participate. It made me feel good to come home.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And Madam
Darlene.
Mayor, if I may add really quick, Madam Mayor, I'd like to thank Darlene Din too. I thank you for your service to our community. You really are very deserving of this honor. It's been long due and overcoming. I always wanted to thank, I've had a respectful admiration for you. We've interacted in each other's lives for many decades now, and you always treated me with dignity and respect, and I really appreciate that and wish for you the best for you and your family. So
Thank you so much.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh.
Darlene, I'm just so happy to see you here. I know you're not around much anymore, but you are missed, and I think you had a lot of leadership in this community, and it's great to have you back home, so to speak.
Well,
so thank you.
Help
and
me find
congratulations.
employment for my husband, and I will be home.
And Assemblyman Alejo, thank you for making the trip from Sacramento. I think it makes a difference that you came here to do the award. It's time, it's effort. There's a lot of things that are going on, and a lot of people are busy, but you took the time to come and present the award, so thank you, too.
Thank you all for your comments. Next, we have a proclamation for a very special organization here in the city of Watsonville and throughout Santa Cruz County. So if we can have the representatives of court-appointed special advocates, CASA of Santa Cruz County, join us up here. And we just wanted to take this opportunity to present CASA with a proclamation on behalf of the city of Watsonville, recognizing April as National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and also the week of April 6th as National Volunteer Appreciation Week. Whereas every community has a stake in the health and safety of its children and shares in the responsibility to help overcome the devastating tragedy of child abuse. And over the past 22 years, CASA has served more than 3,000 children and youth placed in foster care because of neglect, abuse, or abandonment. And more than 1,500 community volunteers have been trained by CASA to work with these children as their voice in dependency court, providing advocacy, stability, and hope since its founding in 1992. And the convergence of these two national events provides an opportunity to recognize CASA as well as its volunteers for their service to the community. So I, on behalf of the city of Watsonville, California, do hereby congratulate CASA and all of its volunteers on service to local children and proclaim the month of April 2014 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and the week of April 6th as Volunteer Appreciation Week. in the city of Watsonville and urge all of our citizens to join CASA in helping prevent child abuse by contributing in whatever way possible to strengthen families and support and the well-being of all of our children in our community. So I wanted to, of course, present this proclamation to you.
Thank you very much. Should we face this way or this way? Okay. I'm Cynthia Drulli. I'm the Executive Director of CASA. Thank you very much for coming to our chamber event. Councilman Dodge, we appreciated your attendance. And I just want to thank the City Council and the City of Watsonville. We're honored to be a nonprofit in this community and to be a part of it. And instead of me talking tonight, I thought what would be most wonderful is to have some of our volunteers who, without over 200 volunteers, we could not serve the children that we serve. So I brought Brenda Guzman, Gloria Montero, and Susan Cole, our board president, who are all volunteers, and I thought I would ask for them to thank you on our behalf and to tell you a little bit about what they do and why volunteering in Watsonville is so important to them.
Hi. I have been volunteering since October, and I've been to court for my CASA child about a few times, and it's very interesting to watch all of the adults in this child's life have different opinions, but wondering, what does the child herself, say or want? And so being her voice and being able to spend time with her is a pretty amazing experience, and I look forward to it every week. So thank you.
Hi, I have the opportunity of serving a family. I first picked my little CASA girl because I thought her brother had a CASA, and then finding out on the first visit that no, he didn't have a CASA. And I felt so bad, and I know that these siblings are so close, they're like little twins. And so I started including the little brother whenever we could, or actually he's a bigger brother because they're 1 year apart. And it's so nice to be able to be part of these children's lives, to make sure that they have everything that all normal children have with two-parent households, that they have somebody to come and talk to, or somebody to ask a question of, or if the father has an issue that he likes a little input in or a little advice on, that he can come to me and that I can present this to CASA if we need to have some help to provide something that's fun as a birthday cake made out especially for you. Because when you share birthdays with your sibling and you've never had anything separate because you were born a year apart the same day, it's really wonderful to have things that are separate. And so getting them a cake for themselves, they were so happy. And then we got them a gift through CASA, and they were just ecstatic, Going roller skating is just so much fun. And the little girl is constantly, can we take my brother? Can we take my brother? And then when they have the brother, and now he does have a CASA, and so they go and say, can we take sister? And it's almost like a really big family instead of being just a CASA and somebody I'm representing a little kind of stand away. I feel like I'm a member of this family and that I can be a support to the whole family, the brother, the sister who I was assigned to, and the father. So I know that this family has made a big difference in this last year. And I'm so proud of Dad that he has followed through and, stepped up and has learned so much through all the programs that are available, through CASA, through the county, through the city, that has made this father a better parent. And that he now, as wobbly as he is being a single parent, he has, been doing it. And he's doing it, and his family is normal. As much as a single parent household can be, covering all the bases and running around like crazy. But I'm really, really happy to have this opportunity to be in CASA. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to the family.
Thank you, Gloria and Brenda. I'm the president of the board of directors, and it's people like Brenda and Gloria that make this such an amazing organization to be part of. CASA brings out the best in this community. I cannot believe the support, the volunteer, the hours that people put in, the support we get from the agencies that we work with, from our elected officials, from our donors, from pretty much everybody. And it just feels like our whole community, our county, is coming together and taking on this issue of children, our neediest children. And for the first time, a week or so ago, our waiting list we had no waiting list. That was a first in our 22-year history. So it was a very exciting time. But there are more kids out there, and we know that we can reach more children and do a better job. And we can start to think about what else we can do to help these children, not only during earlier years of childhood, but during the transition, those critical years from being a teenager into their secondary education or college or career choices. There's a lot left to do, but I'm feeling like we have, with the support of the volunteers that come out to help us do this work, that we can truly do it. And thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this organization. It's very powerful, and I'm very proud to be part of it. And thank you for the proclamation. Thanks, Arlen.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Your Honor. It's so nice to have you. Thank you so much. To see you again.
Mayor, if I might, while you're returning to the dais, I just want to also congratulate CASA, and I feel like kind of an honorary CASA, as it's well known that my wife has been an advocate for some time, and so I get to attend a lot of the CASA functions, and you know, I'm privileged to see the good work that CASA does, and also see the good work in the community that flows through CASA, and the generosity and the donors and the volunteers and the fabulous staff, and just, you know, being in the CASA house right here on Freedom Boulevard, it's a special moment. And so I just wanted to congratulate and say how pleased we are as a municipality to have CASA in our midst and know the good work that takes place. Thank you very much.
Thank you again for joining us this evening. We will now move on to our consent agenda. All items appearing on our consent agenda are recommended actions which are considered to be routine and will be acted upon as one consensus motion. Is there any public input on any of our items listed on our consent agenda? Seeing none, I will bring it back to council for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, a motion to move our consent agenda. Councilmember Dodge, second by Vice Mayor Hernandez. Any discussion on the motion? Councilmember Hurst?
Yes, regarding item 4.5, this is support of the passage of Assembly Bill 2026 by Stone, entitled the Mobile Home Parks Sales Relating to Increased Transparency in the Approval Process for Purchase of a Home in a Mobile Home Park. This is something that is very near and dear to all the mobile home park residents out there, and I know there's at least 1,000 mobile homes in Watsonville. I'm guessing there might be 2,000, 2,500 residents within those mobile homes. I don't know, but they do need an easier process to be able to negotiate with their park owners and to be able to strengthen their position and have access to real estate markets. And so I'm fully in support of this, and I want to thank staff for bring it along, and having sat in a number of hearings involving mobile home rent control, this is something that has tremendous bearing on the lives and the livelihoods of many people in our community, and so this is a good thing.
Any other discussion or comments from council members? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Bielicich?
Yes.
Gomez?
Yes.
Dodge?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Hurst?
Yes.
Montesino?
Yes.
Cervantes?
Yes. So the motion carries. Next, we move on to our public hearings, ordinances and appeals. We do have a consideration to include the Josie Smith Daily House located at 134 East Beach onto the Watsonville Historic Register. So we do have a presentation by Community Development Director Tawantes.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. As you know, we have extremely talented staff at the City of Watsonville, and for that, we're very, very happy and proud. And today, we get to see a side of Susie that we don't often get to see. She's actually has a master's degree in historic preservation, and I think you will find her presentation extremely interesting. And with that, Susie, why don't you tell us all about this house?
All right, thank you, Marcella. Susie Merriam, I'm a planner with the Community Development Department, and yes, I'm going to take you guys on a little trip down memory lane tonight. The property owner, Sean Pate, has submitted an application to list this house at 134 East Beach Street to the Watsonville Historic Register. Now, by listing the property on the local register, he will be able to utilize the State Historic Building Code in his plans for rehabilitation of the structure. Now, Section 813.05 of the Watsonville Municipal Code requires that the Planning Commission first review and adopt a resolution recommending that the City Council adopt an ordinance to list any property on the Historic Register. The project was heard by the Planning Commission on March 4th, at which time the Commission did unanimously vote to recommend that the Council adopt an ordinance placing the house on the Historic Register. Now, really, what this does for any listing essentially requires that a special use permit would be required for any major exterior modifications to historic structures. So aside from that, it doesn't have any requirements or limitations on things that you do on the interior of homes. It's really any modifications on the exterior. And now we step into the past. The history of the property, I researched using a variety of sources, including the Pajaro Valley Historic Association. The house was built just a few years after the resolution of the Mexican land grant for Sebastian Rodriguez, and about 4 years before the city was incorporated. This is the original 1860 map of Watsonville. Up on your screen, Main Street was originally Pajaro Street, and 3rd Street was Beach Street. And if you see right here, there's a property owned by J.D. Carr. This is a bigger map showing the whole Rancho Bolsa del Pajaro. This is the little piece that's the town of Santa Cruz. And then a little further out, you see this next property that J.D. Carr owned. He actually owned several acres of land at the edge of town that he began selling off as his business interests drew him actually to Monterey County. Carr has been credited with raising the first apple orchard in Watsonville. And this may be why Martinelli's was built and set up right down the street from this property, because essentially all of this area was in apple orchards at the time. Carr was a farmer. He was a president of the State Agricultural Society and was briefly involved in the effort to bring rail service from Monterey to Salinas. He also owned a rancho in Monterey County that he purchased in 1867, and he eventually moved down there and left Watsonville. He built the house at 134 East Beach Street around 1864. William Short purchased the property, or piece of Carr's property, for $350. He came to California with his family as a teenager and then built the house. He lived in it for a short time, and then he moved his family to Arroyo Grande in 1876. The property was then sold to William Van Doren, who was an educator, and he ran a school out of the house. And as early as 1873, Mr. Van Doren ran what was called the Pajaro Institute, which was described as a private school for males and females, where higher branches of learning are imparted by the professor, assisted by an efficient corps of teachers. Vocal and instrumental music is included in the course of studies at this institution. So just to give you a little feeling of what Watsonville looked like in 1876, this is a view of downtown. It's actually looking towards City Hall. You can see the plaza on the left. We've got dirt street and lots of horses and carriages, people on the street, and then you can tell the sidewalk is actually a boardwalk. And at this time, really, the school system in Watsonville was just getting up and running. The main grammar school was being constructed in 1876 at the corner of East Lake and Seddon Street, where the Santa Fe Market is today. Unfortunately, Mr. Van Doren died in 1877 and thus ended the reign of the Pajaro Institute. His widow sold the property to W.D. Rogers in 1885. Now, Rogers was one of the early pioneer physicians in the city who eventually opened the first hospital in Watsonville, right across the street from this house and right next to the produce stand on the corner of East Beach and Carr. And what Rogers did at this point is he built this front on the house, and that's the image that we see today. So we don't have actually any pictures of the original house without this Italianate front put on. And you can kind of see it here. The original house was this back area, and then he put on the two-story front. And then this is an elevation where you can see this front section that he built onto the original house. So he eventually sold the house to Josie Smith Daly, of which the house is named, in 1905, and she was a Watsonville native. Under her ownership, she operated the house as a boarding house. She rented rooms upstairs to single men and eventually built a second house, which you can see right here on the map, directly behind the house to accommodate more boarders. That house right here has since been demolished. Smith Daly averaged about 20 to 25 boarders daily until she retired in 1954. Here's a picture of Josie Smith Daly when she was younger. And then this is a picture we found right next to the house. This is that second boarding house in the background underneath the palm tree. And then this is her later in life working at her home at 134 East Beach. So Smith Daly sold the property in the 1990s, at which time it was again used as a boarding house. And then in 2002, the property was sold, and it's to the current owner, and it's remained vacant ever since, as he's been trying to figure out what an economically viable solution for the property. So when Josie Smith Daly started running her boarding house, there were relatively few hotels in Watsonville. The Appleton Hotel wasn't built till about 1910. The city was growing at a rapid pace, and there were a lot of younger single men coming to town to essentially help build the town and work in the new jobs. So they needed convenient places to stay, and boarding houses provided the answer to this dilemma, gaining popularity in the 1880s and continuing through the mid-20th century. Women usually took primary responsibility for boarders, and it was not uncommon for a boarding house to be run by a single woman in order to support her family as well as earn a wage. Usually boarders had meals within the house and even took part in family activities. Boarders would eat their meals in the dining room and relax in the parlor. When the Appleton Hotel was being built, Smith Daly had about 35 men at her big dining room table in the main house. So, whoops, just to look at the design again, this is, there's no photographic evidence of the original house before this Italianate front was put on, but the front addition has remained unchanged since it was built in 1885. The house has a centered gable roof with overhanging eaves supported by the decorative brackets right here underneath. The house has a one-story entry porch here with symmetrically spaced bay windows on either side. We've got fish scale shingling over each of the bay windows and then over the porch area. The house includes corner coins on either side. There's a difference in woodwork finishing on the sides, as well as each side of the gabled central projection, right, which was the signature of the Italianate style. And this essentially, the Italianate style falls under a broader Romantic period of architecture that was popular before the turn of the century, between 1820 and 1880, and include Romantic interpretations of earlier classical styles like Greek, Gothic Revival, and other exotic styles. Just want to go through the criteria for significance. Our local regulations don't have a list of requirements for inclusion in the register, so what we've done is gone through and looked at this as it adds up to the criteria in the California Register. There are 4 areas that a building, structure, or resource can be eligible for the California Register. It's whether it's associated with a person of local, state, or national significance. It's associated with an event or theme that's important to history. It's representative of an important historic style or the work of a master architect or builder, or that the resource might yield or does yield any information important to history or prehistory. And what we found is the Josie Smith Daly House is eligible for inclusion in the California Register under criterion B and C. It's associated with the development of the city of Watsonville during the height of the apple industry, when the city was growing and boarding houses were a necessary housing accommodation for single men that came to build the city. And also it's associated with the Italianate architecture. It's a rare architectural style here in the city of Watsonville. We don't have a lot of great examples of Italianate style left in the city. And then again, it retains its integrity as it's remained relatively unchanged since its original construction. So staff and the Planning Commission recommend that the Josie Smith Daly House at 134 East Beach Street be listed on the local historic register, and recommend that the City Council adopt an ordinance doing so. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any City Council questions? Councilmember Kaufman Gomez?
So this ordinance will be going to the planning for review of color schemes, things like that. Does it go back in history on what criteria they can use for that for exterior?
No, it will not limit paint colors, anything like that. Essentially what we would do if they were proposing to make any changes to the exterior during rehab, we would review those.
So it's a physical change, not anything to do, and that's only physical change to the exterior, not the interior?
Exactly.
And I think that there was something in the ordinance too about the time, because our current standard, of course, if there's any rehab, is sprinkler systems and that kind of code. Are they going to have to do anything along that line if there were any changes that the structure is going to be made?
They still will have to meet major portions of the California Building Code. that's the next step, is submitting plans to convert this. Essentially, it's always been a boarding house. It's going to be converted to apartment units. And then what they'll be able to do is, with the building official and the applicant will be able to negotiate the necessary life safety features that need to be incorporated in the house, and then figure out how they can then use variations under the historic building code to make sure that they retain the historic character on the exterior.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Hernandez?
Do we know who the architect is, or who was the architect for the
We
facade
don't
when
know.
the facade was redone?
We don't know. It was before William Weeks.
Okay.
Do we have the owner here?
Yes.
Care to share any comments with us, I guess, after our questions? Okay.
Councilmember Dodge?
Thank you very much. I guess, how far does this property go back?
It goes all the way back to the alley.
And what is located behind it? Is there another
There's
domicile?
4 apartment units.
Four
behind
apartments
this.
units?
Mhm.
So those aren't affected by this ordinance, just the house in the front?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a couple of questions just regarding, I know that this was on the Planning Commission agenda for this particular discussion, but as well as some of the other renovations. So you mentioned it becoming a 5-unit apartment building?
Yes, it's going to be a 5-unit apartment building. Yeah, I'd have to look through my notes, but essentially, so they're going to be doing parking lot improvements behind the house. They're going to have some landscaping improvements, and then renovate the interior. The interior of this house, as symmetrical and beautiful as it looks from the street, is really different on the inside. It's something we've been through and looked at. It's a very large structure, and it's already been split up into different apartments and things throughout. So it really only makes sense to be something like apartments. It's not a single family residence inside. It hasn't been for 100 years.
Are the plans to renovate the exterior and bring up the interior to be able to house or accommodate those 5 units simultaneously, so these improvements will be happening?
Yes, yes.
And the conversion back to apartments was already approved by
Right.
the Planning Commission.
Okay.
So he does have a use permit for the interior and a recommendation for the exterior to be in the historic register. So the interior portion of it has been approved.
But this is pending approval of the historical categorization in order to bring forward some of the exterior plans.
Yeah, lack of approval of the inclusion of this in the historic register won't affect the conversion to apartments.
Got it. Any other questions? Seeing none, this is a public hearing, so if there are any members of the public wishing to address us on this particular item. Seeing none, I will return it to City Council for additional discussion. Councilmember Kaufman Gomez.
I really appreciate the proactive nature you're making to let us know the historic value that's been researched out, and that you're going to have the continuity of that for the preservation. We have a lot of old buildings that are here, a lot of old homes that have pretty deep roots and foundations to them, and it takes a lot to go ahead and keep those up and to really appreciate that history that we do have in this community. So I really commend you for moving forward with that approach and getting it registered as well.
Councilmember Hurst.
I too would like to thank the property owner for his willingness to make history come alive and keep it alive. And so thank you very much. And with that, I would move the motion.
Second.
Any additional discussion on the motion? Councilmember Dodge?
Well, I too would like to thank the applicant and all the work that was done to be able to inform us on this decision tonight. It is an historical neighborhood, if you will. It's just nice to see what the city looked like before a series of annexations happened, because I know they're so detrimental to the future and the well-being. That being said, thank you very much for keeping it in character. It's really actually someday if we do remove if the freeway is removed from in front of there, because it's actually a Caltrans issue. Technically, I think it'll just bring this historical value and add to something that students, the thousands of kids walk by there every year. So I think it'll add something to the character. And I was interested in, I've walked through that area on several occasions. That's what the questions pertaining to the whole property was from me, but I think this is a catalyst to generate the renewal of the whole property. So I'll be supporting this motion this evening.
Councilmember Bilicic?
I too just want to thank you, and I'm sure it'll go well, so let's vote.
Vice Mayor Hernandez?
I'm ready to vote.
Okay. Let's go ahead and call a roll call vote. I did ask for a public hearing, but I didn't see any members of the public approach us. So close that and return to discussion. Okay. So we'll go ahead and call our roll call.
Yuricich,
Yes.
Kaufman Gomez,
Yes.
Dodge,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Hurst,
Yes.
Montesino,
Yes.
Cervantes.
Yes, the motion carries. And thank you so much for all of your work, Susie. We next have a demonstration of OpenGov budget and transparency financial tool as requested by Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez and also Councilmember Kaufman Gomez. And our Director Vega will be providing that presentation.
Well, the website is loading. It seems like the computer is a little slower now than it used to be after an upgrade of technology. That's what happens sometimes. So good evening, council members, members of the public. The agenda item tonight is just a presentation, a demonstration of the OpenGov website in the city of Watsonville. So if you could please turn on the screen to show that. So what we have here is just open a browser. The first thing that you do is just open a browser like anything else that you will do when you are going to the internet, to Google or anything like that, right? So you could access this financial tool in a couple of ways. But before going into the actual demonstration itself, I would like to just go briefly about a brief description about what this is. And OpenGov is a software that was developed by the company named OpenGov that allows the city of Watsonville and other cities, there's approximately 40+ jurisdictions throughout the state that have this tool. That in essence, what it does is shows you the budget information and historical data on a graphical form and allows the users to make different changes to the website itself to be able to see the data in different manners. So the city engaged in this conversation with OpenGov some time ago, finally entered into a contract, uploaded the data into the system, and we hope that with the addition of this website, the public, the citizens, council members, staff members will be able to use it and be able to see the budget in a graphical manner that will be easier to understand rather than going to through the 400 or 500 page budget. So with that, I'll show you how you could access this website. The first thing that you could do is the address for this website is watsonvilleca.opengov, and you will see that here on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So you type in the URL directly into the browser, it should take you there. Just internet is slow today. No, not sure exactly why it's a little slow, but it's going to the website, and this is how the budget will look like. As you can see here on the screen, you see 5 years of data, 2008, 9, 09, 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, and 13, 14. All of the data from 08, 09 through 12, 13 is actual data, historical data, and 13, 14 is the budget data. So this is one way to access this software itself on this website. We also have some links on the City of Watsonville webpage. So before going into the details of this page itself, I'm going to go back to the City of Watsonville webpage so that you will be able to see how to access this directly from the city's webpage. So it's still loading, but as you can see on the main page, as you open the main page of the city, you see this big box here for online pay, and right underneath that you see an OpenGov Watsonville transparency link. So if you click on that, it's going to take you directly to the website. Also, as you can see on the city's page, there is a latest news. There is a press release that was sent to the press earlier in the day that indicates what this website is about, what information you can get from it. In addition to that, from the city's webpage, you could go into the City Council page under City Government, City Council. If you click on that, there is also a section for the public to be able to access this website directly from there. In addition to that, there is another section under the Finance Department that you will be able to click and go directly to the website. But I will not show you all the different links. Let's just go into the actual site itself. You click here directly from the City Council page on the left side, just below the council meetings. You click on the link Open Web Watsonville Transparency. It's trying to direct you to the website. There it is. Once it directs you to the website, you see this chart that you saw earlier today in the presentation. And as you can see, we organize this on this manner so that it starts from the broad perspective for the citizens and any users. And you see that this is organized into 3 different major categories of funds: governmental funds, proprietary funds, and fiduciary funds. And the governmental funds includes the general funds plus other special funds. Proprietary funds includes all the enterprise funds, water, sewer, solid waste, and the fiduciary fund right now includes the successor agency to the RDA. So those are the different major categories of funds. If you see how the website works also, you will see that it has different buttons here. It has a help button. When you click that, it has a drop-down that tells you how to. So you wanted to learn how to navigate the site, you click on that, and it will take you to instructions step by step on all the different functionalities of the website. And then it has a link to contact the City of Watsonville to send information to us if it has any questions about any information that they found on the website. That information will go to the Finance Department, and then we'll be able to answer any questions they may have about the information on the site. You also have a share button here on the top where you are able to share the information that you have on the screen via Facebook, Google+, Twitter, or email. In addition to that, you are able to download the graph and the table on a spreadsheet form, on a table, or an image. So if the public is looking at a specific information on the website, they'll be able to download it, look at it on their own computer. They'll be able to share it. They'll be able to ask for help or questions on the help button. In addition to that, we also have different types of charts. You have the chart that you have right now is the stack graph chart. You also have this other chart, a line chart. You have a pie chart, and you have a table view only. When you click on that, it scrolls you down to the bottom of the screen, as each of the different charts has a table that populates the charts, populates the tables, the charts at the top. So these tables at the bottom, these are the numbers that populate the chart at the top. So if we go back here just to this pie chart, you could see that it's right now indicating this is the 2013-14 budget. And if you scroll down from right to left, then it populates the 12-13 data. And then if you move that left, then it takes you to the 11-12, 10-11, 09-10, and 08-09. So you will see that graphically as you change from year to year, how the data has changed. So let's go back to the original table now. So there are some other ways that you can look at the data also. Right now, it's just very summarize governmental proprietary funds, but if you wanted to go, let's say, into the general fund and find some more information, if you click on the link here at the right, where it says governmental funds, you click on that, and it will give you more detail. It'll give you all the detail on the governmental funds, general fund, special revenue funds, debt service, and capital projects. And you notice that every time that you scroll the mouse over any of the different sections, it just gives you some of the data on the numbers. It highlights that specific line and gives you the numbers and the total amount of the budget. So you were also to click even more into the general fund to be able to look for more details. You could see that this is just the general fund by itself. In addition to that, just you say, okay, general fund, but that doesn't give me a lot of detail. You will be able to break that down by department. So let's see what the expenditures by department are on the left side. So far we have looked at the charts on the right, drill down into the actual governmental funds, general fund, and then on the left side, we are showing expenses, and then we're breaking down those expenses by department. So in this case, you can see that they are sorted from large to small, so the largest expenditures are at the top, and the smallest expenditures are at the bottom of this chart. And if you wanted to see more detail on, let's say, the police department, which is the first one here on the list, you'll be able to click on that. I'll give you details as well. And if you wanted to see more, you click on the show more, because there are more departments that are smaller that are difficult to display right now, but it'll be able to show you more. You click that. So it'll show those at the bottom of the chart, the chart as well. But in this case, let's click on the police department. And then the police department, it breaks it down into different sections as well, the same sections that we break the information for you in the budget. Police general, police support services, admin services, animal control, PAL, investigations, and a grant. So you are able to drill down into that data, but if you wanted to drill down even more, you could drill down into police general and be able to look at more information. And going to this side on the left again, you could, instead of sorting this by department, you could sort it by the expense type. So you have two filters. On the left side is expense type, and it's only looking at the police department in general. And you could see that this is the personnel service, other charges, materials and supplies, contracts. So you see the major categories of expenses within that specific section in the police department.
On the pie form, if you had that same chart?
Correct. So you could change at any point, just change the different type of charts, and you'll be able to see right there on pie chart, line chart to compare them, or this other type of chart. So a pie chart typically is a lot more helpful here, and then from year to years before, you could compare if salaries and benefits have changed, and then you could see how it changes as I scroll down. It just moves, and it changes the size of the different pies in the chart. So in addition to that, if you want to go into personnel service, let's say for the police department, you will be able to click on that, and then it will give you the salaries and wages, insurance, Social Security, and other type of expenses within personnel. And then again, you will be able to change the chart at any point and be able to just display it as you like it the best or what makes most sense to you. And then also, you also always wanted to export this. You see the numbers here at the bottom. And then you just click on download, and then you'll be able to see them in Excel, share them with a friend, email them, Twitter, Facebook, whatever information may be, however you want to share that information. So if we have done a lot of different sorting and a lot of different drill downs, and you click even more, you could see here at the top that there is a cookie crumb, right? You see here all the different, the path that you have taken in order to get here. So you see that you are here sorted by expenses, and you are sorting this by expense type. You have a click on personnel service, salaries, and wages. So if you wanted to go back one step, you could just click here at the top and it'll take you one step back. You could also click one more step and it'll take you back to that level. But if you were say, you know what, I'm lost, I'm not sure what I'm looking at anymore, I have to go back and try to refresh it, then you click the reset button. Click that and it will just take you all the way to the beginning. And then you'll be able to restart on the same original page, the landing page for this site. So in addition to that, you have some more sorting capabilities here on the left side. If you wanted to see funds and only specific parts of the fund, you'll be able to also do it on this side. This is a little more complicated. Most people like to just click on the thing, on the actual letters and drill down, but it creates the same type of function that you see with these buttons here and also the buttons here on this side. So for most people, it'll be easier to use the show what, by what, how do you want this sorted, and how do you want to see it? What do you want to see on the right side? Governmental funds, you could see that. Proprietary funds, you could see that as well. On the enterprise funds, you wanted to see all the water, solid waste, airport, all the different funds will be able to show you that as well. And if you wanted to see a pie chart, like some of you like pie charts, we'll go back and we'll be able to see that as well. So in essence, this is what this system is about. And the city, the difficult part about this process was actually getting the data out of the current financial system. But once we get the data out, we send the information over to the contractor, OpenGov. They loaded the information into the website. And we're going to be sending them monthly updates so that the data is updated every month as we download the data from our financial system. They'll be able to upload it into this website. So with that, if you have any questions about the site itself, navigation, or anything else, please, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Vice Mayor Hernandez.
You know, this is a really amazing tool that we have here. It really is kind of like a transparency tool for dummies, you know. It's changing the 400 pages of the budget into one simple tool. But I do want to ask, under the special revenue funds, is that where things like the sales tax revenues are at? And can we get more precise about sales tax, not just sales tax revenue in the city, but also like the special sales tax that we have?
Any type of revenue you will be able to see from this site. What you'll have to do is just, instead of looking at the expenses here on what you want to show, you'll be able to look at revenues, expenses, or revenue and expenses together. So you wanted to do revenue and expenses together, you'll be able to see over time how the city has done year over year. Revenues and expenses, are they meeting each other, are they not? Or you want to just look at specifically at revenues only. You wanted to see that, so revenues, and you want to sort it by departments, let's say, and you want to see how each department was doing. And then you wanted to look at, if we had a special revenue here, let's say non-department, and then general fund miscellaneous. Then you have, by revenue type, you'll be able to see here taxes, sales and use tax, property taxes, rents, licenses, all the different type of revenues that the city collect. You'll be able to see that. So if the city was to have a special sales tax on any specific item, you'll be able to see it here and how it's being received, tracked, and also you'll be able to see how it's spent.
So it'd be month to month, real time?
Not necessarily real time, just 1 month behind, but yes.
Right. Okay. I think that's really good. You know, it really does. You know, people are going to be able to see where, you know, every penny goes, and I think that that's what's important. Thank you.
Councilmember Kaufman Gomez.
So probably a couple of questions. Will you have a separate section for this on a pie chart for Measure G, if we have the success of Measure G, so people can monitor the money going into it from those funds, as well as the allocation of them, so we, of course, have the transparency for that one purpose?
Yeah, if the voters were to pass the measure and we start receiving revenue, we will be able to track it just like this sales tax here that you see here. We will be able just to track any other revenue source. So Measure G, if it was to pass, yes, you will be able to see this directly into the website. And any citizen will be able to see the revenue coming in. They'll be able to see the expenses going out and also how they are being spent.
My other question is, being able to show what we have budget versus actual.
Yes.
How close are we going to be able to do the comparison there? the reason I'm asking that is if we have a budget set and it's $1 million, if we're able to track this, how close would it be for us to check to see, are we on track or are we exceeding what our budget would be?
Yeah, this system will be able to tell you that on a month-to-month basis. Right now, what we have loaded so far is just actual data for the prior years. But the current year, we're gonna start loading month-to-month data right now. Right now, we haven't loaded on any of the actual data, but we're sending those uploads to OpenGov, and every month they'll be loading those. So on a month-to-month basis, you'll be able to see how the city is doing overall by fund, by expense category, or any other type of expense that you would like to track against budget.
Now, we did have an approval for a set dollar amount to have you go out and find the budget tools that you need. Where do we stand with the money that was in the budget we allowed versus what the cost of this service is?
This is completely separate
Yes,
of that
good.
financial system. This is just a website, a tool where we just send information out from our current financial system and load that information in. But the acquisition of a new financial system will do a lot more than this. For example, it will allow consumers to be able to access their utility bill information online. It will allow also, if anybody wanted to do a permit online and do an application, they'll be able to do those type of things with the new financial system. We will also have the ability for employees to make election changes directly to HR. Any prospective new employees will be able to make changes. Submit applications directly to the city electronically. So we will be able to do a lot more with the financial system, and that will be a separate presentation, and I'll be glad to present that to you when the time comes. Right now, we're in the process of evaluating RFP responses. We have presentations for 2 days, tomorrow and the next day. And then after that, we'll compare the two systems that we're evaluating as finalists, and then we will come to the council with a recommendation. So far, we haven't spent any of the funds that were initially allocated for that. It has been a lot of hard work just trying to define what the needs of the city are and put those needs on paper, send those to prospective vendors, evaluating the responses, looking at their systems, making sure that what they say the system do, that they actually do what they say, looking at other cities that have these systems to make sure that they are working for them, and that is something that we will want to implement. So it's a long answer, but that's where we are with that.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Seeing none, is there any members of the public wishing to address us on this new financial system that we have available online? Seeing none, I think I saw Councilmember Dodge.
I think this is I really don't know what to say, and in the sense that this really allows us to be able to. How many other municipalities in the area are utilizing this tool? This is one of the, as I've heard me say on many occasions, I really feel we're a more progressive city than other cities around the Bay Area. This is very progressive, informative. The only thing that I would suggest is that somehow members of the public, or I didn't see with the self-help, I mean, I see it says help, but to be able to explain some of the different ways to be able to use this. I don't know what we can offer to do that, but how many other municipalities in the region are utilizing this tool?
The ones I know, City of Santa Cruz has recently launched this site, City of Salinas, City of Monterrey, and those are the ones I know in the area. There's also Palo Alto in the Bay Area. Los Angeles just went live with this I think last week. So there's about 40 different municipalities and local governments that have taken advantage of this tool, and probably more to come now that LA has signed on into this. Probably there'll be a lot others that will also be utilizing this tool.
Councilmember Montesino?
I know this is got such a great program where you presented. I mean, you can play around so much with it, and people can utilize it as very user friendly. It seems so. I think we're in a step in the right direction. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Hurst.
Yes, Thank you, Mr. Vega. Hopefully this will, shed a little more light on all those questions about transparency and openness that we hear, and maybe take away some of the mystery and confusion that some people have about finances and budget, and clarify, where the resources come from and where they go, and ease of use, and perhaps nobody will have that excuse anymore if they are in the dark, or they're uninformed, or that somebody's trying to hide something on them. So thank you very much for the demonstration, and hopefully this will be a powerful tool that'll be useful to the public as well as the policymakers and staff.
Thank you very much again for the presentation, and we'll probably want an update somewhere down the line just to hear how it's working, any feedback that you're receiving from community members that might be online and utilizing the new tool. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Next, by the request of Councilmember Dodge, we have a 2013 Watsonville Fly-In and Air Show follow-up presentation.
Good evening, council members. Rayvon Williams here from the Watsonville Airport. At the, I think it was a November meeting or shortly thereafter, there was a presentation made by the Fly-In board relative to an update of the 2013, the 49th Annual Air Show. There was a question specifically raised regarding not only the income and the expense, but could you give us a little more detail? And so Wendy Mann, the treasurer of that organization, has come back to provide that, and I'll turn it over to her. If you have any questions, Ms. Mann will be able to help.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity. I have a slide presentation here, just reviewing a little bit of the information that you saw prior at the last visit, a look back at the 49th Annual Fly-In and Air Show, and we were looking forward to the 50th. And our goal is to have a safe and successful event, providing entertainment, inspiration, and giving back to our community. We will also want to thank the municipalities that helped us, the airport, of course, the fire department, the police department, the municipal service center, and the city council. Again, thank you very much. Again, these were our sponsors last year: Digital Dynamics, Ocean Air, the airport, the Pajaronian, the Sentinel, Ascent, Clear Channel, or Car Guide Channel, and Mr. Brandley. And we are, continuing to seek more sponsors and adding to this as we're planning our 50th anniversary event. We're hoping we have some great ideas and great surprises, and we're continuing to work towards getting our sponsorship up so that we can have the funds to do that. Again, just some of the facts from last year. Our attendance was over 4,000 for the 2 days. 42% of the surveyed attendees were first-timers. We're hoping, of course, to increase that. The majority of the demographics indicated an older and higher income that came. 70% of the surveyed attendees were over the age of 35, and there you'll see 30% of them were 35 to 49, and 40% were 50 to 74 years of age. 40% of the surveyed attendees earned over $100,000 a year, and 60% of them were married. On the right-hand side there, again, we contributed to the Lions Club, the Police Athletic League, the Boy Scouts, and our goal is to expand that, hopefully with a bigger sponsorship. So here are a little more detail. Councilmember Dodge had asked for our expenses for last year's event. So what I have here is our income, which we brought in through sponsorship and the event sales, a total of $96,188.58, and our expenses are on the right. And if you have more questions about, or any deeper questions about that, I'd be happy to answer those. On the bottom, it lists the organizations that we donated, which is a line item on the fourth line item there, the $4,000. Our net profit there does show a minus. It's just a few $100s at the end of the year, balancing the books, but we were able to absorb that with our seed money and such. So if you have any questions about the details there, would you like me to go through them?
If you want to do it as you go along.
Sure. Does that conclude your presentation, or should we stop for questions now?
There's just one more page, and
Oh,
of
sure, we'll
course,
come back
we're
to that.
planning our 50th, so we can go back to that. That's fine.
Wonderful. Okay. Councilmember Kaufman Gomez, did you have some questions?
Two. One is, wasn't there a crab dinner? And that was seed money to get this started, but it's not on this report. Was that prior to?
Actually, the crab dinner was to help us with our
Or lobster
deficit
dinner.
for the year before.
Okay. So lobster dinner was to break even, and let us know what your calendar looks like. And I saw 50th, but I don't have a date. So let us know.
I'm sorry
a little bit
about
more.
that. It's October 11th and 12th this year. It's Columbus Day weekend. I believe Monday is the holiday.
And you'll be doing more of another fundraiser for your seed money, as you've done the spaghetti dinner this time? as an
We're
example?
in the planning process. The exact details we don't have at the moment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Dodge?
Thank you for bringing this back
Sure.
to me, please, or to us, I should say. I do have, you know, I just don't want to say the wrong thing. And that being is that from realizing the value and the feelings that people have towards the fly-in and such, I know it's a long time honored tradition, especially going into the 50th year. And I commend you for that. I think it's a very good marketing opportunity to go into the 50th year. I think that this council has showed its support towards the fly-in and its willingness to be able to dedicate resources to the airport. That all being said, I just have some questions that I want to ask you, and don't want to be misinterpreted and read about myself on the patch or something else. I'm getting tired of that.
Okay.
Okay. Entertainment's $10,000, which I understand is important to an event to have entertainment and such like that. A lot of times festivals will use, major sponsor money to be able to cover that expense so that it balances itself out like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how your workings of that is. I'm just offering what it is that I somewhat know, because you have $10,000 for entertainment, which I would assume is sound, lighting, or something like that, because you have $24,000 for performers.
The performers are for the air show, and we
Okay.
did have live music, and yes, our sound system, that type of thing, yes.
That's what I'm saying. So that's like in some ways those categories match up to $34,000, which is a high percentage of your budget. Also, I see your administration costs are pretty reasonable, actually, considering the size of your budget. So the VIP expenses, I assume, are donor expenses. Trying to come up with the right terminology here. Expenses that are their comps that are offered towards the people that have donated substantial money. Your
It does,
major donors.
yes, it does include that, and then we do offer, an area. The public can purchase a ticket, and come to that and get food and be on our flight deck line and have a better view, that type of thing. So that
Right, I
area-
understand the importance. That's what I'm saying. I understand the importance of a VIP or a higher price ticket for the people that are willing to pay the privilege for that.
Mhm.
And I think that that's also a good marketing tool, which you can use with sponsorship and market as a separate, even if it's in conjunction with hotel expenses. Because I see you have a higher demographic. I'm impressed by the higher demographic that 40% of the people that attended made over $100,000. Very, very, very impressive. Even if it is an older crowd and it is some Well, you know, myself.
Sure. Careful who you
I
talk
didn't
about.
say ancient, just a little older, you know. So that's a pretty impressive demographic to work with. That I think, in dealing with sponsorship, that maybe that we can match. You would be able to match that up.
It's certainly our goal. We're working towards
better. So that's
exactly.
That's all I'm trying to say, because those kind of numbers indicate that there's a potential that's not being drawn on,
and we definitely
unnecessarily yet. And I understand that there was, you know, that you would search for outside help last year, and those things don't always work out the way we intended them to. So I'm not implying that wasn't good faith that was put into this event. I just wanted to be able to see some of the numbers, because like security numbers, that's usually a fair price, but it depends on how much security. I assume that's for for 3 days, including the security for the planes.
It's 24 hours. We have
20 hours for the entire event.
Yes.
You know, we're very fortunate to be blessed by a great number of security companies that our police chief has established a list that we use here in the city. So I would recommend that, however that goes.
Thank you.
And so the volunteer expenses, I assume, are T-shirts and meals. Yeah, I like that. So, but that all being said, and all those numbers totaled, and then the net profit being breaking even, then the donations at $4,000, maybe that will require more sponsorship portion out of that. Anyway, these are rough suggestions, or not even suggestions, or comments, and to being able to the budget. You saw it's just that we have a transparency tool, you know, and that we get comments all the time about how we spend and allocate our funds. I wish you the best of the luck in the future. And the city and I'm speaking on behalf of myself, because I tend to speak on behalf of others, that I think that if we could assist you in a greater manner with, I don't know, we like to form subcommittees or something like that. I think that there's some issues here that other people in the community of Doe Productions would be able to look at and be interested in.
And we certainly welcome that, definitely.
I just think that, you know, I appreciate the numbers, because we can look at it. We can look at it and say where the potential is to be able to increase it, because it's a community asset, and we want to see the hotel rooms. You've heard on several occasions about, and I know I'm talking too much, you've heard on several occasions about the birding festival, and that's increased. And so this seems to be a demographic that would attend both. Thank you very much for allowing me to go on for such a long period of time.
Councilmember Bilicic.
Just a quick question. We've had this on Memorial Day weekend. We've had it on Labor Day weekend.
Correct.
Is this a different date now? I mean, is there a reason why it was changed?
There were several reasons that were taken into consideration. Salinas happens
Labor Day?
Right after Labor Day. Weather was a part of it. Taking it off of a holiday weekend, a big holiday weekend, we thought might increase our chances for attendance, as a lot of people do go out of town on those two big weekends.
Is this the first time?
I'm sorry?
Is this the first time?
It will be the first time in October, and weather is definitely a big factor. Although last year was great, it's the 3 years of Labor Day weekend were not so great, and we thought our chances of having less fog and a clear weather for that weekend a little bit later.
October usually is a nice month.
Definitely.
But I just know people were into, well, you know, it's Labor Day, it's Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day. And then it was into Labor Day, and I'm just wondering what the trigger will be to remember a date. You know what I mean? If this is going to be...
Well, hopefully our advertising is going to be the thing that gets them.
Okay.
Any other council member questions? Our city manager has some comments.
I didn't see the $10,000 that the city council allocates for this event.
It's in the sponsorship
in the
amount.
in the
in that total,
34,000.
Yes.
And then, okay, and then the expenses. I didn't see the expenses for the fire department and police.
And Rayvon can help you answer that question.
So we budgeted those in-kind donations out of the special projects budget that the council approved for the airport. So what we basically did is we had an interdepartmental charge for that to pay for the police. The fire department and MSC, we've done work with them back and forth. They didn't charge us, and so we did have to pay for the police. And we had that out of the special events.
So the city's paying for those costs as well, in other words?
Well, we only paid for the
police and
police,
fire?
right. The fire did not charge because we used that opportunity as like a training exercise. They were on site during that time. MSC provided recyclables for that time. The fly-in provided their own sanitation.
Okay. The other events that the city does, we do pay the police and fire, so we need to look at that. Because it's not fair that the Strawberry Festival and the 4th of July pay, they not. The other issue is, so how much were those costs, police and fire?
The police was $8,600.
Okay.
And the fire, I'd have to go back and see, but I believe it was $2,000, just under $2,000.
So then we have 10,000 plus another 10,000, so we're really giving 20,000
right, and
in the city?
And our special projects budget is 35, and so we came in for special events. We have a line item budget for 35, and I strove to be under that during that time.
Okay, so that's a little bit different because the Strawberry Festival, we're not giving that kind of money to. That's $20,000 of a subsidy in effect we're giving. So we need to look at that because it's not treating all the events the same. So we just need to think about how we can deal with that.
And for this year, my goal is to for 2014-15, as I shared with you in the memo, is not to do that.
Okay.
And I think you'll see they have a little video that they're showing you, basically to Councilman Dodge's perspective. The focus this year is to bring in more sponsors. And so Councilman Hurst and I have already on the schedule to meet with John Martinelli. We're also on the schedule to meet with Annie Glass. Today we had a chance to meet with the California Grill. And so it's just a process of trying to start with a valuable conversation in April for sponsorship instead of August. Because there is a value in making sure that, as Councilman Dodge says, we drive for it. But I'm more than aware of the financial cost, and we really don't have the expense, and so we're working very hard with the fly-in to be very judicious on their spending.
Include the hotels. They should be paying some advertisement. They're getting filled up by people coming in for this event as well.
Any other questions? Councilmember Montesino?
Well, thank you, Carlos, for bringing those things up because I had those same questions because those are line items that aren't on there, and I know I always see the fire truck over there. Can we get those numbers back, either in an email or all those line items, in-kind donations? What other donations? Was it any gas, personnel, all those kinds of things? Thank you.
Councilmember Hurst, did you have some comments, questions?
Yeah, just a couple of comments quickly. First of all, thank you very much for the transparency and the details here. I think this is very helpful to know, and it tells us, where we should go as well. And I want to hear what some of the plans are for the big 50th as well. And let me just say that you can count on me volunteering again and again for that weekend and whatever other weekend that you select. And thanks for continuing to dial in the details, and that includes the date and everything else. We've learned a lot here this evening, I think, and I hope that we'll continue to learn. Thank you. And don't hesitate to share what the big picture is for the 50th as well.
There is an opportunity for public input on this agenda item as well, so I don't know if any of the folks that have just joined us would like to comment on this particular item, and also any members of the audience that would like to come forward and comment on this particular agenda item.
Hi, I'm Bill Gustin. I'm doing the car show this year, and I've done it, well, I had to step in last year, and then we did it the 2 years before. Anyway, we're expecting to do a much larger one. We're doing a VIP section where the cars are going to cost $300 a car to come in, but the people will get VIP passes, 2 of them, and a lot of other items. And then the regular cars are going to be $50 a car. And we're expecting 100 VIPs and 200 $50 cars. So we're hoping to raise some money plus some sponsors we have. So I think it's going to be a good year for us. Any questions?
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to provide some input on this agenda item? Seeing none, I'll return it to the council for some last bit of comments.
So
Yes,
it's-
Councilmember Kaufman Gomez?
Oh, yeah, we do have a video for you to see that we're using as our tool, one of our tools for soliciting for our sponsorships.
Great. Did you want to ask your question first?
While this is loading, you're involving the chamber as well?
Yes.
And hopefully we'll have a little bit more of a recap as we go a little bit further out on how things are coming out.
Sure.
Great.
Our hometown air show at our hometown airport is going back to the future, and we want you to join us. Since 1964, the Watsonville Flying and Air Show has been bringing years of exciting, family fun entertainment to our community while supporting local charities. Your sponsorship in this once-in-a-lifetime Golden Anniversary event offers you a unique and cost-effective opportunity to promote your products and services to a large audience. The Watsonville Fly-In and Air Show provides a number of on-site exposures to potential customers with above-average income and mobile spectators who average 6 hours at the event. Leading up to the 50th anniversary celebration, we will provide sponsor visibility via our website, social media, press releases, printed material, and of course, radio and television. During the event, sponsors may display signage and will be included in the printed online event program, and at certain levels have direct flight line and performer access with opportunities for media day flights. Cross-promotion opportunities are also available. The Watsonville Flying and Air Show event assets include 10,000 attendees over the 2-day event, a prime audience for your fall-winter 2014 promotions in the Watsonville community and surrounding area. Only the Fly-In and Air Show can package these elements in a cost-effective sponsorship opportunity that has a positive impact on local charities such as Second Harvest, Jacob's Heart, CASA for Children, and the American Red Cross. Corporate and individual opportunities range from on-site venues, kids zones, pancake breakfast, balloon rides, to exclusively sponsoring classic favorites such as acrobatic performers, warbird formation flybys, and classic car parade. We look forward to working with you as the sponsor of the Fly-In's Golden Anniversary, October 11th and 12th at the Watsonville Municipal Airport.
Round two. Any other comments?
Well, that was a really nice advertisement promo, and I'm glad you could be here this evening to show us not only the quick clip, but the financial details as well. So thank you, Ms. Mann.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you
Yes,
for the
thanks
opportunity.
for coming out and sharing with us some future plans as well for the
And
Flying
we'll
and
keep
Air
you
Show.
updated,
Thank you.
definitely.
Great. Have a great night. So the remainder of our agenda is just focused on informational items, including a report of disbursements and miscellaneous documents that are available online and in our packets. If there aren't any other questions or comments about those items, then we will go ahead and adjourn tonight's meeting. Have a good night. I forget to do that.